Welcome to our reflection for the 8th Sunday of Ordinary Time and the last set of readings before the great adventure of Lent starts with Ash Wednesday. So what a fertile time of the year, and I use that word pretty carefully selected, because both our first reading and our gospel reading have this imagery of fruit and knowing the type of fruit from the type of tree. And so in a really beautiful spiritual exercise, it's an opportunity for us to think about the fruit that we produce and going perhaps even to the core of who we are as a tree or as a flower or as a plant, and what kind of fruit we produce. So in the first reading from Sirach, the imagery of the fruit of the tree is complemented with the kiln and the vessel. So the kiln tests the potter's vessel. So as a potter crafts something, then it needs to be fired in order to give it its lasting strength. And what a great invitation for us as we embark on the great season of Lent, the holy season of Lent, the introspective season of Lent. That is a great precursor for our gospel story, in which Jesus, from Luke, in which Jesus tells the disciples actually several parables with several images, using the blind person leading another blind person, and the teacher and the student, and the log in your own eye and the splinter in someone else's eyes. These are just a real powerful series of images that conclude with the fruit from the tree, that you can always tell the fruit of the tree. And then he asks this simple, these simple questions. Figs don't come from thorns, and grapes don't come from bramble bushes. The natural order of the fruit that comes from us are actions. I'm reminded of one of my favorite women in the history of the church, Catherine McAuley, who founded the Mercy Sisters. And her statement is, proof of love is deed. So it's a spin on the connection between our words and our actions. Perhaps this imagery from this final Sunday before Lent can challenge us in a different way to look at fruit and what happens, what is the outcome of what it is that we do. The second reading is from Paul's letter to the Corinthians, in which he talks about what's perishable and what's imperishable. In classic Pauline theology, he's making a real clear distinction between those two things. Perhaps you've heard me even challenging that at times by talking about the one world that we live in that is both perishable and imperishable, to use Paul's words. But he also, in a very powerful way, directs death. He addresses death directly. Where, O death, is your victory? Where is your sting? This underscores his distinction between what's perishable and what's imperishable. As we embark on the great season of Lent, as we mark ourselves with ashes reminding us of our humility, let's also be focused on that spiritual notion of who we are in God that is imperishable, that can never be taken away, that's eternal. That's a significant connection with the world that we live in now.